Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into my YouTube channel. Today I want to do another boat talk segment. We're going to talk hooks, specifically drop shot hooks. And I know a lot of you guys are probably set in your ways on what type of hook you like to use for drop shotting, and I'm not going to try to change your mind, but I'm going to share with you some ideas maybe you haven't thought of, or maybe you have thought of, and maybe this will kind of refresh it. Maybe you give this a little bit more thought, but we're just going to talk about drop shot hooks and some different ideas and different ones that guys are fishing. So number one, probably the most popular, is like an open hook, a nose hook, or just what we would call a drop shot hook. This one is just great for using for smaller baits. I like the one that owner has is a Mosquito Light or Mosquito. The Mosquito Light, obviously a little bit lighter wire hook and helps with just a little bit more natural presentation when you're throwing those smaller, smallmouth type drop shot baits. And when you're using lighter line, it has a little bit finer wire, so it has better penetration. But that's a hook that's probably the most widely received. Some type of open hook, nose hook, beak hook, something like that is what guys fish for drop shot, or when they fish drop shots. And then over the years, guys wanted to throw drop shots in and around cover, and so there's several different hooks that have come out. And what you've generally come up with, if you can see that, is you have a little barb here that keeps your plastic from sliding down a O'Shaughnessy style bend, because I feel like the verdict is out, and a lot of people really like an O'Shaughnessy type bend. I do too, specifically when I'm fishing a straight shank hook. Now, don't get me wrong, there's times when I'll fish a round bend, but that O'Shaughnessy bend, and this is probably my favorite hook for drop shotting. Day in, day out, I can fish this open hook by threading the bait on and using that keeper to keep it from sliding down, but I can also Texas rig it, and it's just a great one. I feel like the wire's right, and it's great for spinning rod, drop shot applications. But one of the hooks that's kind of been maybe overlooked, and it was actually I think is one of the original true, technique specific hooks for drop shotting, and that is the owner cutting point. It's their downshot hook. And you guys may have been like, oh yeah, I saw that, I tried that hook, and different things like that, but maybe you haven't. And this is a hook that's genuinely different than just about anything out there, and it was designed for drop shotting. Let me pull one out of the pack real quick here. I've got a 3-01 that hopefully will help you kind of see that in a little better, just because it's a little bit bigger. But as you can see, that's a different hook. And I don't know if you've realized, but over the last few years, a sickle style, which is that type of bend right there, has become real popular in the crappie market. And a crappie has a very soft mouth. And, when you're using lighter line, this type of hook has proven to be really good with the crappie fishermen that are using them on jig heads. Well, this isn't a jig head hook, obviously. This is it's so early in the drop shot evolution that this was called a downshot, which a lot of people probably didn't realize that the drop shot was initially called a downshot. So this hook was actually designed and called, the downshot hook, or what we know today as the drop shot hook. But that's a different bend. It's definitely created to, for a very specific purpose. Let me tell you about some of the different high points on that hook. Definitely number one is the fact, and some people are split on this thing too, and that's the fact that hook comes with a cutting point. Let me just kind of demonstrate. Owner was one of the originators of the cutting point, and that hook point, it's just super, super, super sharp. My hands are dirty. I've been working in the garage here a little bit, but it's super sharp, just sticks to your nail. It's going to penetrate really easy. I think, there's guys that love a cutting point. I'm one of them. And then a lot of guys just want a traditional needle point. But whatever it is, this is a great hook. And I'll tell you, some other things that are pretty interesting about it. The obviously right here, as you can see, this bend is made such that obviously the hook can be, or the bait can be Texas rigged, and it'll sit right on that little offset, but then the line will go through, you know, like a lot of guys will tie a drop shot, and with the tag end, they'll drop it through the eye and it'll come down. And I'll show you here real quick with mine. If you're not familiar with that, I'm sure most people that throw a drop shot are familiar with that. But then it makes it so that this will stand straight up, and that line will kind of always be at the very tip, which if you're looking at a you know, a standard drop shot setup like this on the owner cover shot, that line could kind of swing around on side to side on that eye. Hopefully you guys can see that. But this actually is designed so the knot stays up top. The line pull, the line, you know, is all up and down, which generally with a drop shot, you may be casting it, but a lot of times it's a vertical presentation, up and down. At least the bait is designed to be that way. So you've got a couple different things. You've got, and here's one rigged up. Look at how that bait sits on that hook. It sits on there really nicely. And obviously the line was designed to be up, you know, vertical. And then you've got your drop shot leader line that goes below it, or the dropper that comes down. But that hook is really was designed for drop shotting. And I'll tell you what, you don't hear a lot about it in the largemouth circles, but when I go north, it seems like just about every year for tournaments, whether it was the Elite Series or FLW or MLF, and now the Bassmaster Opens EQ Series, when you get up in the North Country, that's about the time you start hearing about this downshot hook. I mean, outside of the North Country and smallmouth fishing, you just don't hear too much about the downshot hook. And let me tell you, we all like to throw a drop shot, and some people don't ever want to throw a drop shot. But for the guys that do like to throw a drop shot, you think that you do a lot of drop shotting. You might think you do a lot of drop shotting, but when it comes to smallmouth fishermen, they do a lot of drop shot fishing, and they know what works. And so I just was in my garage, and I thought, man, that hook right there, maybe I should put that back into play. I really love how the bait sits on there, keeps it up nice, and I feel like with that cutting point and the bend, the sickle bend, which is kind of like a modified Shaughnessy bend. I mean, there's a lot of good things going for this hook. And I've caught fish on it, and I've done well with it. But you know, like with fishing, every now and again, you'll for some reason, you'll move on to something else. Something else will come out, it'll catch your eye, or just your buddies. You might be like with your buddies and, hey man, I throw this hook, let me try that hook. And you just get off of something that used to work for you and you move on to the next thing. But I wanted to give you guys something to think about. That owner cutting point, downshot, offset hook, made for drop shotting. It's got a little artwork in there. And it even shows you on the back kind of how to rig it and everything. If you're not familiar with this hook, you may want to check it out. Anyways, that's the Boat Talk video for today. Drop shot hooks, and specifically the owner downshot offset hook. Thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and drop a comment down below. Appreciate all your input and appreciate you guys tuning in. So until next time, thanks for watching and good fishing.